Hello, this is Line Out. I'm Leora Korb. On this week's show, we feature the Middletown Folk Festival and the Levine family who is responsible for it. Jerry Ryan starts a new season of interviews in the public interest, and Jerry's guest this week is Carl Fox, Director of CETA in Monmouth County, and we take a special look at an unusual activity for boys. Here is Rosemary Peters and her report on the Middletown Folk Festival and the Levine family.
Don't pass me by, don't pass me by, don't pass me by, don't pass me by. There's a new home, joyous greetings from the sky. Don't pass me by, don't pass me by. With a hand stretched out to greet you from the sky. Many changes out of my hand, and it makes me feel like an unimportant man, living life just to be told. Hard to greet the morning singer with an empty soul.
This is the Middletown Folk Festival, held on a weekend in June each year in Bodman Park. It's a colorful collection of musical styles in the folk tradition, along with handcraft displays and demonstrations, special activities for children, and a goodly dose of spontaneity, all in an outdoor setting that conveys the feeling of a lively family picnic, which is partly what it is, especially for the Levine family, who started the festival 15 years ago and have organized it ever since. Dr. Richard Levine, a dentist by profession, his wife Marlene, and their 4 sons have enlisted other family members and friends to join in the work and the fun. Steven Levine drove in from Massachusetts to help at this year's festival. He describes how he participated in his family's unusual project.
Of my brothers, I'm really the one who doesn't perform at the festival. I don't play an instrument, I don't sing. So the administrative tasks of volunteer shifts and coordination and even typing up tags fell to me. But on the whole, there's just so much to be done, and only one family doing it. You know, it was lucky enough that there were enough of us to fill all the roles.
David Levine echoes his brother's enthusiasm and family spirit.
I used to be able to see how much effort was being put into the festival by my parents, just them. And so when the festival time came around, I took a certain amount of pride in holding my end up, and that would be, you know, taking the tents down when the festival's over and everyone's going home, you know, at the festival field. And I think this year we had a record time in taking all the tents down and everything away. I mean, we were out of there in like a half hour, and I was just amazed. But, you know, I like to do as much as I possibly can, you know, and whether, aside from performing, you know, that's something else. But I mean actual labor.
Working together on this enormous project is an outgrowth of the family's shared interest in music. Making music together and with friends has been a way of life for them for many years.
I can remember falling asleep at night to my parents playing, practicing for school shows, whatever they were doing. So it was always there, and as a child I was brought to many folk festivals in the Northeast, and so it was a natural progression for me to want to play music myself. And one day, I don't know what came over me, I walked up to my father and said, I want to play the fiddle.
He said, Dad, I've decided the fiddle is going to be my instrument.
It happens we had a fiddle in the house because our oldest son, Michael, who played the 12-string guitar now, who studied classical guitar for a while, one day traded his classical guitar for a fiddle without telling us. That's how we received the first fiddle in the family.
He doesn't live here anymore.
At age 10, the youngest son, Matthew, decided to take up the dobro.
Even though what few dobro players my parents knew would give me a lesson when I would see them, and after that I just remember what they showed me and just take it from there and practice all the time.
It was like self-teaching.
And 3 times as much as that.
When he was in school and he wasn't behaving or he wasn't doing his homework, the only way I could get results with him was to threaten not to allow him to practice. Now, you have to do your homework or you may not practice your music. Because I think that when a kid really wants to play, there's no way you can keep them from doing it, and you never have a problem, really, with them spending the time on it.
At times, the house reverberated with the sounds of multiple practice sessions, but the only one who experienced the total effect was Marlene.
But there were times when I would be in the kitchen, which is centrally located, and there'd be 3 different kinds of music coming at me from 3 different directions and just, hitting me. And I'm sure it had some permanent effect, some kind of brain damage to me, because it all assaulted me. I was in the center of it.
Being in the center of pleasantly pervasive sounds is a good way to describe the Middletown Folk Festival.
And as you walk in through the front gate, you get this tremendous feeling of sound, of music from the main stage, of people improvising in the corner, of the children's section where there are kids laughing, and there's a children's craft area where they have the sounds of hammers. And you walk a little further, and you look at some craft exhibit. But since the music from the main stage is amplified, you get whatever is happening on the main stage at the same time, too. So that's the feeling of the Middletown Folk Festival. Now, every folk festival is a little different, but basically, it's that general feeling. I think we have it because it's small enough that you could do all that. The larger festivals, it's a little different. But basically, every festival has that same mixture, hopefully, of different sounds, different types of folk music to show the widest possible audience what folk music is all about.
There's also, it's not like a stage show in the sense that the people who come to participate, they come as paid admissions. These people are also a part of it. They're participating. They participate just by being there, and there's an interaction between the musicians and the audience. And the barrier between the stage and the audience, I think, is not nearly as strong a barrier as it might be in another kind of a show. We hope that some of the people who come will hear something that they've never heard before and that they like, as well as hearing things that they know they like already. It's learning new things and learning about each other. So our whole goal is a self-limiting one for the Middletown Festival. I'd hate to go on record as saying folk festivals, period. For us, that's what it should be.
Keeping the festival to an optimum size has helped preserve its special character.
After the first few Middletown festivals, where apparently it became very successful locally, some people said, why don't you take it or try to take it to the Garden State Arts Center? And I said, no, that's the last thing I would intend to do, because the entire character of the festival would change, and it no longer becomes family entertainment on a small level. It becomes a show that you put on stage, which is what we're doing, but in a very modified way.
That's the other thing about our festival. We like to think of it as being non-commercial, which is not the same as non-professional. Professional is a whole state of mind, but commercial is something else.
While the Levines enjoy organizing the festival, they admit that it takes extensive planning and attention to detail. Activity peaks during festival week in June, when they provide lodging to out-of-town performers.
What happened is our kids always would have to give up their rooms whenever we had a festival.
That he remembers. That I remember.
They all would pile in our room.
You had many visiting dignitaries in those
Well, I suppose if you were a performer of a certain stature, that's probably the only way you can describe a certain age, maybe, you did get your own room with your wife. And if you weren't quite in that stature, you slept in the basement dormitory. And then a further level would be a tent in the backyard.
Yeah, right.
Then occasionally
But all were fed.
All were fed and housed.
If people ask us in April or May why we do it, I have no answer. But now I'm beginning to remember why we do it.
I have to mention one funny thing that happened this past festival that probably happens every year. This was Friday night, or I would say early Saturday morning of the Middletown Festival. It was like 3 o'clock. The house is full of people. There are 3 old-time bands going on. And, of course, we're in our bedroom trying to sleep because I have to get up at 7 o'clock to get rolls. No, I take a day very late. To get rolls to feed the people. No, I don't work. I take off that weekend.
Better for your patience that way.
And At the same time, our cats are completely flipped out because they don't know where to go. And one of our cats is pounding in at the bedroom window trying to get in, and I don't want it to get in. Finally, I let it in, but then it wants to go outside. But there's people outside, and I'm not dressed, and at that point, I'm saying, why am I doing this? Why am I subjecting myself to these cats, to this lack of sleep, to all of these things? And somehow I know that by Saturday night, when the festival is over, and
you'll remember why you do it.
I'll remember why I do it, and it's something it's very hard to explain, but it's just sheer satisfaction of something in which you've brought a lot of enjoyment to people, and people have told us this. We've received letters every year, and many of the performers love to come here. So they said. And
we've made a lot of really wonderful friends, too.
And that's why we do it, and that's why we can make plans for next year. And hopefully, within our own personal tastes, give a lot of people enjoyment coming to the festival.
Well, a lot of organization, but a lot of gratification for the Levine family and for the people who attend the festival, who actively participate in the music.